Adaptive release for an assignment. Adaptive release criteria inside of this new system can be fairly simple or complex depending on how you want to do it. But one of the most critical things is we need to go ahead and find where we're going to be doing this adaptive release. And we can do adaptive release for really any content item inside of the system, but for right now we're just going to concentrate on assignments. So let's go ahead and let's find where we've deployed some in the past. So we're going to look in content. We're going to go inside of example. So inside of example learning module we have several different assignments here. If we want to look at an adaptive release on an assignment, I want to stop you and have you think first, why am I doing an adaptive release? If it's something that I just don't want this visible to all students before a certain date, or I want it to disappear after a certain date, I would not recommend using the adaptive release. What I would do is go ahead and select Edit and come down to the visibility dates, and I would just configure the limited availability to display after or until whatever that range is that I'm looking for. And that covers really about 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 issues with why we would be looking to use adaptive release. If you still aren't satisfied, if you're saying no, there's something more than just the visibility dates, let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do this. So let's click on the action link item next to the assignment. We can see that there's two different types of adaptive release. There's adaptive release and adaptive release advanced. And advanced truly is more advanced and it gets more complex. So let's look at adaptive release, just the basic version up front. So what we can do in the adaptive release is we can configure another date range. But again, if you're simply using this, I would recommend using the set availability options inside of the assignment itself. They're a bit more user-friendly and it's easier to update. These kind of go on top of the other ones and you don't want to complicate it whenever possible. But you may be looking for something like a membership criteria. Here, you can actually go through and browse for specific members. And you can actually get them, by name and put them in there, and you can say, okay, I'm only going to release this to a specific user or to a set of specific users, and then you can say submit, and you'll have to browse through and find their usernames, or if you know them, it's too easy. Or you can make something available based on a group membership. You can say, well, maybe everyone in group A can see this assignment, or everyone in group B, or however you'd want to distribute that. You can select specific groups to have as members. Next, we can come down here and we can look at grade. Okay, so this means let's say I only want students to be able to take this assignment if they've gotten a 70% or higher on a quiz, or I only want them to be able to see this if they have gone ahead and scored 34 points on my previous assignment. So here I can select from the gradebook which assignment. Let's say we're going to look at the SAFE assignment. Maybe they had to have completed the SAFE assignment with a score of greater than 20. Well, in this case that would be too hard. So greater than 15. And so we can do that here. That's how you can set up a grade dependent, and you can also use between, so score percentage between. You can use greater than, equal to, less than, and you can set up those criterion inside of there as well. Finally, you can go down to review status, and this one's pretty cool. So this allows users to select an item saying that yes, I have reviewed it before they can complete this assignment. And you can browse for the item inside of your course. You could look for it, maybe say my example file, or like a great example would be like a syllabus file. So here if I said they have to have reviewed my example file or my syllabus file before they take their first assignment, that would be a great use for the review status criterion. When you've selected your criteria, you go ahead and you say submit. In this case, I'm going to cancel because we're going to look at the advanced options as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the advanced options. So we're going to click back on that action link item, and we're going to come down to adaptive release advanced. Now, before we were able to set up just a simple set of rules. In this one, we get to create rule sets, so we can have maybe 2 or 3 different rules. And inside of those rules, there could be a whole bunch of different criterion, the criteria that users would have to meet. And if they meet all of those criteria, inside of that individual rule, then it's okay to go. And then I can have a separate rule, and they could meet all of those, and they could go onto this this assignment then. And it's important to note that if I have multiple rules, if they meet all of the criteria in any one of those rules, this will become available to them. So let's go ahead and look at creating a rule. So we can call this rule number 1. We could really call it whatever we want. And inside of it, we're going to see a menu that is familiar here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and create the first criteria. Let's make it, I don't know, a date criteria. And this is going to seem very familiar. Again, it's those availability dates. So here, I can set this up and say, okay, only during this specific date range will this be available. And I'm not done. I also want them to have, on the safe assignment, a percentage of 75% or higher. And then I can say submit. And maybe they all have to be a member of Group A. So I'll go ahead and add that over there. So Group A. So here we go. So now it has a date criteria and a grade criteria and a membership criteria. So the only way that a student could take this this assignment right now would be between September 18th and September 20th, and they have a 75% or higher on the safe assignment, and they're a member of Group 1. So you can see that I've very much restricted this down. And then I can say, okay, this rule now goes into effect. If I want to make another rule, I can do that as well. And it's the same exact process. And again, it's important to note if they meet all of the criteria in rule number 1, this will become available to them. If they meet all of the criteria in number 2, it would become available to them, even if they didn't meet all the criteria in rule number 1. So it's whichever rule they meet first, that's what's going to go ahead and launch it. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And we're going to see that an adaptive release has been applied to this assignment. So we can see right here, enabled adaptive release, and that's how we know that that has taken a hold. And then of course I always recommend going through and testing it, but really think through what you're trying to do with an adaptive release before you attempt to do it. Again, if it's just going to be those dates, it's far more advisable to go ahead and pop in and edit and look at the visibility date range. That's part of the tool itself, just right here, the limit availability, and set those. And that makes life a bit easier, especially when you're rolling from semester to semester. I hope this helped clear up some confusion on adaptive release.